Namaste, everybody. Hi, I'm Lizzie Brooks here, and I'm here to deliver you a quick and effective weight workout. So grab some weights. If you don't have weights, you can use books, you can use water bottles filled with sand. I mean, get creative. You can use resistant bands, you can use puppies. Anyhow, maybe not. Kittens, no. All right. So let's go ahead and begin. I do recommend that you have warmed up a little bit, done some stretching, make sure you're hydrated, but let's get to it. So we're actually going to start standing, and we're going to start with a medium size weight. I will always tell you that for the purposes of the videos, I use a lighter weight than I normally do in my regular workouts so that I'm not breathing as heavily. So from here, grab your set of weights, draw it in front of you. We're going to start with the rotator cuff, so rolling out here and holding that to the sides. From here, inhale and exhale, draw the weight back in. Then take the weight down. We'll do that again. Come back to that 90-degree position, open any amount out to the sides, and coming on back. Now it's just started to rain pretty hard here, so I'm sorry if that affects the sound, and take that block down. Block. Always gonna call them blocks. I've been teaching yoga for 20 years, so it's a little hard for me to transition to calling these weights. I'll do it again, I'm sure. Take it out to the side, back to center, and all the way down. Let's do that 2 more times. 90, take it laterally, back forward and down, and then just 1 more time. Take it forward to your sides, slowly forward and all the way down. Good. Rotate the palms in towards you and just soften that out a little bit. Now from here, we're going to go for a wide stance. So add your wide stance, and if you're familiar with triangle pose, you're going to do triangle pose feet, which is your right foot pointed forward, your left toes pointed roughly in. It's kind of heel to heel alignment or heel to arch alignment. That's really up to you. And from here, we're going to allow ourselves to put one hand, the hand that's near the back leg, on the waist, and the other hand is going to drop in front of our front leg. And from here, we're going to do a little tilt and draw back up. Little tilt and draw back up. Now, if at any time during this you find like, ooh, I grabbed the wrong size weight, then change your weight. Or get rid of the weight completely and do this just with your body weight. And then if you're feeling comfortable there and you feel like, well, I could go a little further, not hardening out the knees, you might want to put a micro bend in the knees, then go further. But if you have any back issues, let's make it really small range of movement. And then from here, adding on, maybe lift the top arm and continue. Lifting that top arm up is going to add quite a lot to this. So this is getting through the side body, through the back, through the core, through the legs. It's going to amp up the heart rate and the need for deeper breathing. And let's do 1 more time like that. And up, draw that weight down. Come to center for a moment, and we're going to switch sides. So keeping your other weight on your waist, I'm going to kind of move that around my battery pack. Drop the front hand or left hand down, and then just start small here, up and down. So I'm not trying to roll forward here. I'm rolling the top shoulder gently back, and then finding the range of movement that's comfortable in my hips, my spine, through my legs, through my hamstrings, down and up. So this isn't really, you know, a traditional movement that we see a lot in our yoga practice, in our weight practice, but more so in our yoga practice. So this is a little bit of incorporation of that. So we move in ways that we're not used to, which is really good to build new neural pathways, to get some new synapses firing together. And then from here, opposite arm comes up, if that feels okay for that upper shoulder and the neck. So as you can see, I have my assistant here today. This is my puppy that doesn't have a name yet, that we adopted a couple days ago. We figured, hey, while we're quarantined, why not raise a puppy? It's the perfect time. And let's do 2 more of these. Nice and slow. And up. Take that top weight down. Turn both sets of toes in, and then we'll go into our goddess squat. So from here, turn the underside of the forearms forward, draw the hands in front of the legs, turn the toes and the knees out roughly the same direction, and the hips are higher than the knees. From here, lift your heels, lower your heels. Lift and lower. So obviously you're lifting and lowering with your legs more weight than you're used to because you're holding on to these weights. You can go higher or lower. If lifting and lowering your heels to work the ankles and the balance and the calves and the inner thighs and everything doesn't work, then just lift your hips a little high and a little low. We're all gonna go there in a second. So 2 more lifts of the heels, last one. And then from here, we'll move pelvis up a little bit, pelvis down a little bit. All right, then we're gonna do a reversal, okay? So this is good for the brain to do things that it's not used to, as I said. So from here, you're gonna bring the arms up and the hands up with your weights. As the hips go up, the weights are gonna go down. Did I say blocks again? And then from here, hips down, weights up, hips up, weights down, all right? So that's the movement. Bringing the weights to the shoulders. As you stand up, weights go down towards the floor. Nice, just classic bicep curl in the upper body with a goddess squat movement through the legs, working into the glutes, quads, hamstrings, and inner thighs. Good. Now from here, stay standing. Draw your weights up to the shoulders, and we're gonna change it. As the knees bend, the weights are gonna go down. As the legs straighten, the weights are gonna come up. Good. Bend the knees, draw the weights long and down. As the legs straighten, bring the weights back up to the shoulders. 3 more times. Bending the knees, taking the hands down. Bring the weights back up towards the shoulders as you straighten the legs. Once more, take it down with the weights and all the way back up. Good. Now turn the feet in and let's walk them closer underneath us, but still wider than the hips. And then we're gonna do a little press. It's almost like you're doing a really, really slow motion punch with an internal rotation of the shoulder. So what I mean by that is I'm gonna start here in that position we were already in, and then I'm gonna roll the underside of my forearm down, and I'm gonna show you that block, and then I'm gonna bring that back up. Good. And then the other side, roll that block forward and away and back. This is hard because, as I explained in one of my previous videos, the longer the weight is away from you, the more you have to stabilize that with other parts of your body, like your abdominals. Okay, so you'll feel that. Allow the pelvic floor to support you all through the core, not just pulling the belly button back and thinking, oh, pull the belly button back. No, the whole set of the abdominals, which is a lot more than rectus abdominis, a lot more than just the top. Draw that so gently back, not forcefully in, and then support of the pelvic floor. We'll do 1 more each side. Here's the last one. Hurrah! And back up. Good. Slow, 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 lowering all the way down. So I've talked about time under tension in one of my videos. Spending a longer time under that tension can be really beneficial rather than just doing a bunch of quick reps. And then soften that out. Go ahead and put your weights down for a moment. So I want you to completely shake that off, Open up the shoulders a little bit. So I like to incorporate a little stretching, maybe both arms at the same time, maybe the other direction. And then we're gonna cross one arm over the body, other hand or forearm can draw that up. Move your shoulder blade up and down. Good, release that arm, turn the palm up, press the thumb back, inhale, turn the palm down, exhale, float that arm down, let it be heavy. Good, cross the other arm, lift and lower. Yeah, woo. Allow that shoulder blade to move. Release the arm, turn the palm up, open it to the side, press the thumb back, inhale, exhale, float the arm down, and let the arm just be heavy and shake that out there. Good, make sure nothing's overdone in the neck or anything like that. And then from here, we'll come to all fours. So a medium weight here, or again, wherever you're starting, 1 pound weight. If you want a lot more work and you want to get more sore, meaning that you're gonna break down the muscles a little bit more, use a bigger weight, but then make sure you have a rest tomorrow, at least for a day, to rebuild the muscles that you've broken down. All right, and so from here, come to all fours. You might pad your blanket. My puppy's using mine at this time, so I'm going to allow that. And then from here, we're going to take the elbow towards the side and come out for a slight fly on one side. So this is stabilizing through my whole trunk and really getting into my lats and my side body, depth of the core, taking that out and down. Now, it might look like this, little to the side and down. That's enough, okay? Don't feel like you have to come all the way to 90 degrees. This kind of work is, again, probably not movement that you're used to. I'm still trying to get used to it. All right, 100. Other side. Stabilize. All right, and then from here to the side and down. That lateral fly, asymmetrical. Rotator cuff work. It's really tough, and I'm only using 5 pounds right now. Like, I'm shaking, and I'm feeling the heat. I won't sing that song to you just because I like you enough to not put you through that. And whew. Again, you don't have to go to the highest height, and you need to go nice and slow. Let's do 2 more. Good. And then feel free to come back into a child's pose or a downward facing dog for your stretch from that. Whichever one works, you can soften it out. You can move side to side. That helps you get a little bit more into that side body that you just worked by taking the hips off center, side to side. If you're in child's pose, you can walk over to one side and then the other and find extension through that side body. So choose which one works and add your breath there and relax. You gotta do both. You gotta do the work and the relaxation, and then you're golden. All right, so from here, grab your 2 weights. And in fact, if you are using a heavier weight, you can use just 1 here. So if this was a heavier weight, I would use it here in front of me. I'm actually gonna combine these 2 so it becomes 10. And then we're just gonna go into our classic squatting pose. So feet roughly sitting on distance apart or hips distance apart. I like it sometimes a little wider, up and down. And I'm trying not to hunch my shoulders forward, keep the spine long. And as I talked about in a prior video, you're not leading with the knees, but more so hinging, leading with the hips. Not in a back bend, not in a round. Nice and stable, slowly up and down. All right, so we're firing up the work of the legs here and getting a little bit more of that blood flow. And then we're gonna change it up. So come on up and go to one side of your mat and put your feet together this time. And then from here, if you can, bend the knees. Then lead towards the other end of your mat. You're going to step a little bit, squat, and draw the feet together. You're gonna step, so you're working those external rotators. Shift, feet together. Lead, shift, and close. Lead, shift, and close. You can go really big steps here. Because I don't want to go out of the frame, I'm doing smaller. We're going to go to the other side. Lead, shift into the squat, slide together. I almost made a bad electric slide reference, but that really is going to age me quite a lot. And that's okay. I'm already going to do that on my own with my bad jokes. And back together. We made it. Whoo, straighten it out. Soften the shoulders. Add your breath. We're going to now go back for a walk with the weights in our hands. This time a little more into balance in calves and ankles. Lift the heels. Lower. Bend your right knee in. Extend the leg any amount, and that might be here. Okay? Bend your back knee, put your front heel down, and transition into that foot. You're now on the toes of your back foot, the heel is lifted. Now take your blocks and press them back, opening the heart and engaging the triceps. Now let your weights come back down to hang by your sides. Bend your standing front leg. Let the other knee come up for the balance. Stay here or add any amount of extension. Then bend. Heel comes down forward, then arch, then toes, and you lift the heel of the back foot. Get steady, get balanced, and press your weights back, or no weights. Let your weights come back down. Bend the standing leg, back knee comes in, maybe extend, bend, heel, arch, toes, back heel lifts, press, and this time you're going to press and come into a slow pulse into those triceps. Then they hang down. Bend your standing leg, scoop the back knee up and in, extend the leg any amount. Don't do this if that bothers your back, just put maybe down here. Then everyone goes heel, arch, toes, back heel lifts, press your blocks back, and slow pulse. So there's an element of balance here. And hang the blocks down, and we'll come to the top of our mats here. Breathing. Bring the weights towards the shoulders. I'm going to come back here and show you as we rotate the arms forward. Take yourself into kind of a goalpost arms or cactus arms and let one block come up and down. I'm going to call it a block forever. Weights up and down, up and down. All right, so we're going to change it now. We're going to do one up, back down, in and out. The other one up and down, rotate in and out. Good, so that's the sequence. A little more dynamic movement and a little more core focus there, core stabilization. Good, now both up. Good, breathe. And now slower than you want to go, bring them back into those cactus arms. And we'll do little pulses here. Little baby pulses, not too fast, and a really small range of movement. 3, 2, 1, and slowly release that weight and soften it out. Now grab a blanket for your knees for this one. I'm going to fold my mat over twice so that I can have padding for my knees, okay? Since puppy is using the blanket. And then from here, grab your weights, tuck your toes behind you, take your weights forward, hinge the hips back, kind of like you did in your chair pose, and then we're just going to hinge back enough to let the weights almost touch the floor, not right next to the knees, but slightly forward, and then we're gonna come all the way up, and the blocks are gonna come to the weights. One day, guys, one day. The weights are gonna come to your thighs. Hips back, weights down, and all the way back up. Slight hip hinge, weights come forward of the knees, not next to them, and then back to the thighs. So I'm already feeling the burning happening in my glutes. This is one of my favorite exercises for glutes and hamstrings. Let the blocks come forward, draw your core musculature gently back, and then come on back up. And back. Again, the more weight you use, the more work. The less weight, the less work, but it all counts. And back. We're gonna do that one more time with a hold. Come forward, we're gonna hold, and then from here, we're going to draw the elbow up and back to where we started. Up and back to where we started. Taking it to the side, so I'm gonna show you. Up and back. Up and back. In that hold, through the glutes and the core. Getting into that back body at the same time. Now from here, you're gonna be so excited to straighten your hips back up, but uh-oh, the arms have to come up shoulder height. Breathe here. 3, pretend you're having a good time. 2, and 1. Slowly lower those weights down and shake that out. Good. And if you did use that sort of mat folded up position, go ahead and unfurl. And we're going to come to a tabletop position. So from here, if it feels okay for your wrist to turn your fingers forward, you can do that, or to the sides, or even back. Internal rotation, kind of in between, external rotation. So choose what's best for your hands. And then I think I'm gonna go sideways today because I have a little wrist thing going on. Feet are hips distance apart. Roll your shoulder blades back, lift your sternum. Engage that gentle back bend musculature, all the paraspinal muscles supportive. And then instead of letting the knees splay to the side, lift up and keep the inner thighs gently active. Okay, so this is phase 1, and you can stay here. Again, hands might be here or here. Yeah, that's all right. And then from here, we're going to lower the hips almost to the floor, and then slowly bring them back up any height. And you can walk your feet a little more forward if that gets them more under the knees. Now, if this is already pretty tough, you're gonna stay right here. If you wanna add a little bit more, I'm gonna go for a 10. I'm gonna place that 10-pound weight on my hips, the front of my pelvis. There's a little balance there. Inhale here. Exhale, slow baby lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. So this becomes really full body. And it also becomes a shoulder opener the higher the hips go. So you'll start to feel right at the head of the shoulder, maybe, depending on your tension, a stretch there. Lifting and lowering. Lifting and lowering. Definitely getting warmer. And then we'll come up for a hold. Keep your gaze at your breathing belly. And then slowly remove the block, and we're gonna come into a all fours, forearm plank, or classic plank, okay? So you can stay here and just gently move front to back and work there. You can come into your classic plank, so not here, not here, nice and supported. So think about lifting the kidneys gently towards the spine and drawing all of the organs up and in for support. Or you can come down to the forearms, be it separated hands or interlaced fingers. And then from here, we're gonna move, like I showed you in all fours, just a little forward and back. This isn't up and down, it's forward and back. You're keeping yourself nice and long from head to toe. And again, you might be on your hands with your arms long. Breathing there. And we're going to allow ourselves to feel that challenge and to meet that challenge, all right? Of course, you can come out of it at any time, but trust that you might be a little stronger than you thought. Breathing. And from here, transitioning onto one hand with staggered feet. If this is a little bit too much, lower the bottom knee or put the top foot forward with that knee bent. Again, you might be here, okay? Or staggered footed version of that. Lift that top arm if that feels okay, and breathe for the hold. If you want a lot more, take one of your weights and hold it here, or if it'll stay, leave it there. Breathing. And if you're doing the weight, do a small one. I would say max 10 pounds. And then if you have the weight, go ahead and slowly remove that and transition to your other side. So I will rotate this way and then try to put that weight where my battery pack isn't, and breathe here. So pay attention to if your hips are really far back, your top hip, or really far forward, and see if you can balance right one on top. I find that to be pretty challenging, but really effective. Breathing here. And also you can change which foot is in front or which foot's behind, depending on what's more comfortable. Again, fake it till you make it. Smile. Gaze at a puppy. And then if you use the weight, you can remove that and put it down. Transition into a downward dog, a child's pose, or all fours. And move it out a little bit. If you are a yogi and you love to take a vinyasa, take a vinyasa. It's not a must. It's there for you if that works for you. And then slowly, slower than you want to transition. Get stronger in the transitions by taking them slower and more mindfully. Come all the way back down. And come to a hero pose, sitting on your heels or sitting on a block or two here. So we did a decent amount of external rotation in the hips earlier. So we want to add some internal here. And come into your breathing. So if you're feeling a little bit more anxious and you want to calm down, go ahead and put your palms down, face down on the thighs. If you're feeling like you need some more energy and more invigorating, turn your palms up. And feel the beating of your heart. The warmth that you created in your body, the blood flow. And connect yourself head to toe through your breathing. So imagine that your breath is moving all the way up to the top and all the way down to the toes. And if you are over back bending here, if there's still that tension in the body, let that go a little bit. So maybe just be a little softer there and sweeter with not having to have some perfect posture right now. Bring the hands together to the heart. Welcome the rain. And thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate anyone who takes the time to take care of themselves so that they can better take care of the people in their lives as well. Namaste, everybody.